I've got the most underrated bass lure, the Johnson Silver Minnow. Let's get loaded. Oh, that was awesome. Oh gosh, this is a big fish. And it's a pike, big pike. This is how I first learned about this lure, was pike fishing. Way back in the day. This guy's got a bunch. Yeah, I knew you weren't. I knew you weren't ready, buddy. When I was a kid, my buddy Pete and I, we would throw Johnson Silver Minnows in northern Minnesota for pike. And they're just fantastic lures. This is a beautiful pike here. Beautiful, beautiful markings on this pike. Wow. I would fish with my buddy Pete up north for pike. And we would fish, I mean, we were kids. Bye-bye, bud. And exclusively, we'd use Johnson Silver Minnows and catch a ton of pike on them. But what I've found out later in life is how great these are at catching bass. And hopefully I'll be able to show you just how great they are at catching specifically largemouth, but I think these would even catch smallmouth in the right conditions too. I'm fishing in shallow water right now, and how I work this in shallow water, I mean, this bait really excels in shallow water, particularly because of the way it swims. It just snakes through vegetation. It's super weedless. It's got this weed guard on it right here that works very well, but just the body shape of this spoon just allows it to slither through just about everything. So it's super weedless, and you can just throw it where you can't throw a lot of other lures. I just basically, in shallow water, I start just retrieving. Sometimes I'll have my rod tip up. In this particular case, in shallow water, it's typically good to have your rod tip up. And I'm kind of using my reel to retrieve this thing, to give it action. I'll reel, and then I'll stop, and then that thing just flutters down. And a lot of times your strikes will occur then, when it's fluttering down. Sometimes you'll just get one that's just, I mean, he's coming out of nowhere and just hammers it while you're doing a straight retrieve. Like right there, I just had a hit. And sometimes a straight retrieve is great. This bait looks so good underwater. It blows me away that more people don't throw it because how good it looks. So even just a boring straight retrieve with this thing looks amazing. You can trigger fish with it too, which is super important. So you just be reeling, use your rod tip and just kick it out and stop. In fact, I believe that's a fish right there. But even just reeling, you can stop it and it just flutters down and kicks to the left and right. There's just so many ways to work this bait. It's really almost limitless. Ooh, there's one. That's a largemouth. Yes, that is so cool, man. So cool. Come here, bud. Come over here. He missed it at first, and then he came back and got it. Hello there. Come here. Come here. Come hither. All right. And there you go. The silver minnow caught me a largemouth. Good fish. There you go, bud. The trailer, I mean, you could use a ton of different trailers on this, and I'll go into that shortly here, but I want to catch another fish, quite honestly. But right now, I'm just using a split tail trailer on this, and it gives it a real snake-like appearance, slithering through all the vegetation. The mind-blowing thing about this silver minnow is that it comes right over the top of thick lily pads like this, like a frog would. And what's cool about it is you can just work it slowly over the top of the lily pads, but you can drop this thing down and just it slithers down and just has this amazing fall through the lily pads, which a frog isn't doing. So it's a really unique action, a unique thing that I think most fish in these lily pad fields are not seeing. There's one big fish. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is a big old largemouth. Hello there. That's so awesome. Oh gosh, that's awesome. Right at the edge of the lily pads here. Come here, Buster. Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, yes. Oh, that's fun, fun, fun. He's right in the slop. Oh, right at the edge of the lily pads. Golly, is that fun. I love that. I love that. That was so cool. I'm coming through all these lily pads and I get to the edge of it and I just kind of kill it and it flutters down and he grabbed it. Thank you, bud. So let me show you what I'm doing here with the trailer. And it's, like I said, you can put a lot of different kinds of trailers. You put a lot of different kinds of trailers on a silver minnow, but probably the best, I don't know, it's debatable. I like putting just a straight trailer like this on here. Just a split tail trailer like that. And I'll show you how I rig it. I'll put a new one on there. But you can also, you know, use a bigger like curly tail trailer, and that can look really cool. But what's cool is you can use something a little bit longer, and that just helps to give that bait kind of a snaky look to it. But so what I'm using here today is that straight tail chartreuse trailer, and how I rig it is not rocket science. So I take this trailer, and I'm not hooking much of it. I'm just basically, I love to do this anytime I rig soft plastics. I want to see where that's gonna come out, okay, on the trailer. So I kind of mark it with my thumb, okay, and then I come out where I marked my thumb. And there you go. You want that thing, in fact, it's not even that straight. I can rig it a little less. I went in too far. You want it straight. And that's about as straight. This hook is not straight, obviously, but that's about as straight as you need it. And that thing has tremendous action right there. Oh gosh, dang it. I missed that fish, but what was really cool is that I was fishing this just like a jerkbait. I mean, it's like a weedless jerkbait. And that tripped his trigger. He didn't eat it, unfortunately. He didn't get hooked, but this thing has so many different ways you can work it. And it's basically like a weedless jerkbait. You know, after missing that fish, I really should sharpen this hook. One of the only bad things about this lure is that the hook is not very sharp. So you really, out of the package, you really want to sharpen that hook. Let's get this hook sharpener out here. I just really make sure that I get this hook sharpened well on this, because out of the package it's really dull, and you just need to make sure that that thing is as sharp as you can get it. It's, like I said, the only drawback of this bait. And so I'm just going towards the hook point right at the top. All right, and then what I like to do is I like to just make sure that it's just kind of scratching my finger, my thumbnail right there. And if it's scratching it, she's ready to go. There's one. Good one. Good one. I saw it. Oh, that was cool. Come here, bud. He just went. I mean, he is wound up too. Just wound up. That is cool. So the thing about this is that the design of it, you can see that the line is twisting up, and that's what this bait does. I mean, it's going to twist up your line. I don't worry about putting a swivel on there or anything. If you're throwing a bait caster, it's not really going to bother anything. I mean, if you were throwing a spinning reel, it would be a major pain. But I throw this on a bait caster, and you just, you know, like what's happening right now on the rod tip, you just have to manage it, and it's not a huge deal that there's line twists. What's cool about this design, obviously it works through vegetation really, really well, but it also casts like a bullet. I mean, you can cast this thing super far. I love the idea of the single hook, okay? Not all spoons have a single hook. A lot of spoons will have treble hooks. Obviously, that's going to make it a lot less weedless. But the other thing with a treble hook is oftentimes you're going to lose fish with it. A single hook is way better at keeping a fish pegged. You're going to lose less fish with a single hook like this. There's all kinds of retrieves that you can do with a silver minnow. In shallow water, do a steady retrieve. A lot of times that works just fine. Also do a stop and go retrieve, which is awesome because that thing's just running around, and then all of a sudden you kill it and it just flutters down. Also, you can fish this in deeper water. I'm fishing about a little bit deeper, you know, 5 feet right now. You can slow roll this thing and just count it down 5 feet. I'll count 5 seconds so I know it's on the bottom or near the bottom. Should be good right now. And then I'll just slowly just wind this thing in, just like slow rolling a spinnerbait. Another thing that you can do, which is really, really cool, you can fish this thing just like a worm. And so make a long cast out, let it get to the bottom, and then jerk it off the bottom, let it flutter down. It's such a versatile bait. It's really, really surprising that you just don't see it used in bass fishing. Well, before it gets too dark, let me just show you kind of what I'm using as far as equipment goes. I'm using 17-pound Trilene XT mono. I'm kind of old school, I guess, in that respect. You can use fluorocarbon or even braid. And as far as the rod goes, this is just a spinnerbait rod that I'm using, and it is a 7-foot medium heavy, moderately fast action, and it does great. This is a 1/2 ounce spoon, and this setup is just perfect. Enjoyed the day, a lot of fun. Love this bait. It's such a fun bait. Hopefully you learned something. And if you enjoyed the content, please subscribe to the channel and make sure that you hit the bell icon to be notified every time I upload content. Thanks.